Boom. Okay, so speaking of Columbus, because that's our show, we're going to talk about the prospect rankings.
So I have that article pulled up.
I do too. Scott Wheeler has been ranking everybody's prospect pools on The Athletic.
Yep. We went up by 3 from last year.
Columbus clocking in at number 3. I love it.
So we just go like player by player in the article and then just give some general thoughts and move on.
Yeah, we'll go top because it's top 15, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 1, David Jiricek.
Obvious.
Pretty obvious. Right-hand shot, defenseman playing so far with Cleveland. He's had a little cup of coffee in the big league so far.
He's producing as an under 20 defenseman in a way in the American Hockey League we haven't seen in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like
kid's pretty good.
Yeah. I was surprised with number 2.
He's also a noted Alan Walsh client, so that's I think we need to
Sure, I guess. So I'm surprised by number 2 because it wasn't who I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought number 2 was definitely going to be somebody different. Number 2 is Denton Matachuk.
I thought he'd be in the top 4, no doubt about it. There's a ton of talent with Matachuk, and I'm super excited about him. But
he was the what pick was he?
12th.
12th. He was the 12th overall pick in this last draft.
Yes.
Left-hand shot, Moose Jaw Warriors captain, defenseman. He's a big skater, really fast kid. July birthday, so he's got plenty of time to mature.
Oh, baby.
5'11", so he's a little bit on the shorter side for a D-man.
Not like terribly small though. Like 5'11's fine size, especially for someone with his skill set. So I'm excited about like he's got a ton of game to his offensive repertoire for sure. Production's very good in juniors.
Modern defenseman, like some are a little shorter and they're always decent to really, really good skaters and have
he's a good skater.
A solid shot.
Good passing. He makes a very good first pass. Really good in transition. There's lots to like with this player.
Shown leadership material, obviously being the captain of his team.
So 3 is who I thought would be number 2.
Yeah, same here.
Your prospect pool is in great shape when Jordan Dumais is your 3rd prospect.
Yeah, Jordan Dumais, right winger for the Halifax Mooseheads. I mean, this kid, we've talked about him plenty. Like just off air, right?
Yeah.
Because he's putting up numbers that are competing with Connor Bedard in the whole CHL.
Probably going to win MVP of the Q. And his production is just unbelievable.
He is lights out. And I hope
really good vision, really good hands, outstanding playmaker, has shown particularly this season he has goal scoring ability, which is definitely big for his game.
And I mean, like,
it's the definition of a crafty guy.
Yeah, and it says here he's definitely got that top 6 winger potential.
Yeah.
And in Columbus camp, he wears a pretty nice number, if I do say so myself.
I will say so. I agree. Number 4 is
Mr. Half a goal per game.
The number 4 has unfortunately never registered an assist at the NHL level, but
you guys know who this kid is. It's Kirill the Thrill Marchenko, the Marchenko Show. I love him already so much.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about Kirill so much ever since he came up because we've been waiting on him forever. We've been waiting on this kid. Yeah. And now he's here and he is absolutely just lighting up the joint. It's amazing. It's so good. And we don't really need to spend a lot of time on Kirill because, like, we're seeing it.
Yeah.
We're already seeing it with Kirill Marchenko, just how good this kid is.
Yep. I'm excited to talk about number 5.
Number 5 is your boy, Carson
Yeah.
Kuhlmans.
He has been very good for a very bad Wisconsin team this season.
Right-handed shot. He's 19 years old, playing in Wisconsin this year.
He has even goal differential on a team whose minus 23 goal differential and 10-18 record are both last in the Big Ten.
Oh.
So he is a little mistake prone, which we knew when we drafted him. He's kind of your prototypical right-hand shot offensive defenseman. He's going to turn the puck over sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
There is some concerns about, there's going to be times where he gets caught flat-footed in terms of skating.
Well, yeah,
he's never going to be a shutdown defenseman, but his instincts are very high. He is someone who is very, very good with the puck on a stick, makes a good first pass, really good in the offensive zone. Like good size, 6'2", 200 pounds, sturdy.
And I mean, you've been high on this kid ever since, like, prior to draft day.
Yeah.
Didn't we get him with a Leafs pick too? Wasn't that like in the Fleegy trade?
That was the Foligno trade.
That was the Foligno trade? Man.
This is what I really enjoy about this list too, is number 6. Stan Posel.
Number 6 is our boy Svo.
Notice something about this list, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
4 of the top 6 guys, all defensemen.
Yeah, and that just goes to show, like, the way that Jarmo has drafted over the past, like, decade. He works a section of your roster at a time.
Yes. And, the biggest complaints about this team right now has obviously been defense. Well, help is on the way.
Look at the cupboards, people.
Yeah.
Like, we got help coming. Stan Svozil, 20 years old, left-hand shot in Regina, playing with his best buddy, Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
If you remember our World Juniors talk, he was part of our Czech conglomerate with David and Martin Rysavy.
Yeah.
And he was like second on the Czech team in terms of overall point production, right?
I've really been impressed, like, watching him. He's a very good skater. Mm-hmm. He's very confident with the puck. For a defenseman, very good with entries, which I think is big for this team moving forward. Whenever he makes the jump, he could be an option on a power play.
Yeah.
That is one thing that this team has always struggled with.
Power play defense and entries, yes.
Just entries, just getting into the zone. They are allergic to the offensive zone when it comes to power plays.
No, the issue is staying on side, Jay. But yeah,
I love his skating. He's got good hands. Gap control might be the biggest concern with him, but he's still a young defenseman, and again, offensive. That's the other thing. Like Jiricek, Matechuk, Svozil, and Kuhlmans to go along with like the guys you're already on, like your Zach Werenski, like they're building a defense that has a lot of offensive punch to their game.
Yes, that's the thing, though. That's another side of the coin is, like, it's nice to have offensive upside with your defensemen.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're playing defense too, though.
Well, Zach is great defensively. Jiricek is really good defensively. So I'm not terribly concerned about the top. It will be interesting to see how this translates for guys like Kuhlmans and Matechuk. But in the meantime, you've got other guys on roster. Andrew Peaks, primarily defensive defenseman. We'll see what his future is with the team.
It'll be interesting because I've seen articles where he is centered in the like core of guys for the future.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Peaker in the near future. But anyway, moving on and going down the list. Number 7.
Oh, the best name in hockey.
Number 7. I love this kid. Luca Del Belbaluz. I love it. Center, 19 years old, playing for Sarnia now ever since he got traded from Mississauga.
Yeah.
That's what we were trying to figure out, where he got traded. He's in Sarnia. And he just recently, his last game, he scored a hat trick. If that doesn't say, like, God.
Not a gigantic guy, but 6'1", good size. He's a center.
Mm-hmm. Says here that hopefully, like, Jarmo's vision for the guy is 2, maybe 3C, power play 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 goals, 40 points.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. Like that sounds like a reasonable expectation for a player like him. I think he projects well. Like, he is a guy whose ceiling is lower, but his floor is higher.
Yeah.
So it's a good pick.
And I mean, for like an early second rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing we mentioned earlier is like Jarmo. Do you actually want to bring those pictures up and talk about those? Because Jarmo's been.
I have those saved to my phone. We'll bring that up in a second.
Jarmo has been phenomenal with scouting talent outside of the first round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 8. He's on his way, people.
He will be on his way.
He's on his way. Dmitry Voronkov, center left wing, 22 years old, playing for Akbars Kazan in the KHL right now.
So just to kind of wrap, like, I'm just going to use what he wrote here because I think it's accurate. He doesn't have an A-level defining skill to his game, just an effective, well-rounded pro hockey player. Big, 6'4", strong, uses his frame to finish checks, gain inside body position, win majority as 50-50 battles, and attack off the wall to the slot.
And he
can play center or wing.
He is like Kirill. He's one that we've been waiting for. He's one that we're like very anxious to see over here in North America.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so happy to hear that he's going to be making the jump at the end of this KHL season.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets a little cup of coffee with Cleveland, probably.
Yeah.
Before this season ends.
Yeah. I think so.
Right. Number 9 surprises me because
he's about 7 slots too high.
This is way too high.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Liam Foudy. You guys know our thoughts about Liam Foudy. He can play center. He can play left. He's still only 22. So
he said, brilliant, explosive skater with world-class acceleration and top speed. Those things make him an effective forechecker, a threat to turn defenders, an option on flip-outs, out of the zone for breakaways, etc. I don't love the rest of his skills, though.
And we've talked about this. We've talked about this with his career totals.
Not a high-end playmaker. He's not fantastic defensively. His results on defense are not great. Has not shown that he's a goal scorer in any capacity whatsoever.
He just doesn't put up points. And
he does end this by saying the clock is ticking.
Yes, and
which I more than agree with.
Well, that's the thing, is our frustrations have been the fact that he is consistently playing that third left wing spot.
Mm.
And I get that, like, I get where we're at in the season and what this team is trying to do and securing a draft position. I still don't know. Like, it's just confusing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we've said he's not an NHL player.
which he's not.
Bring somebody up that can at least look like they can be effective.
Yeah.
Even in losses.
Yeah.
Because Liam's not.
Here's what I will say about this.
Boots doesn't contribute anything.
Why Tyler Angle isn't up instead of Foodie is beyond me.
Yeah.
When you consider that the one thing that Foodie does well, skating, is also something Tyler does well.
Yeah, and we've seen what Fixie can do in that role too. We've seen Fix Wolanski.
Yes, another guy who skates.
Yeah. And Fixie's got some size to him to go with that.
Well, Fixie's only 5'8".
I mean, like, he's bulky enough. Like, look at him. He definitely plays like he's 6'2". Right?
Right.
So, like, Fixie can fill that role. And, like, how we haven't seen any of Tyler Angle's beyond me. Right? There are a lot of guys on that Monsters roster that I'm like, how? Like, can we see something?
Hockey games, like, you know that you're kind of you're in the Bedard race, obviously. Right now, you're actually leading the Bedard race.
Yeah.
This is your time to figure out, like, give a guy a cup of coffee here and there and see what they can do for you in the future. Like, right now, like, Tyler Angle's 6 goals, 11 assists, 17 points in 38 games in the A. I say it's not high-end production, but
no, but they're playing in middle six.
Don't you want to see?
I do.
If there's anything there? If there's not, there's not. You don't lose anything by giving it a crack.
You don't know until you try, and they haven't tried. But, okay, so moving on from Foodie before we get more depressed. Number 10 is Daniil.
Yes.
Daniil Tarasov, 22 years old. Obviously, he's played backup for us plenty so far this year. He's actually, for a stretch there, he was the best one. So we kind of have our benchmark for what we want with Daniil.
I don't know if we have to say too much on him. I think everyone knows our thoughts on him. I really like him, and
I like him too. He'll be a solid backup option next year.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Hopefully he gets actually more time to be the backup next year, because
the only thing I'll say about Daniil is I like it, his skill set.
Yeah.
Good size. My only concern would be perhaps durability. That's the only thing I've seen so far that would be of concern.
He's had some injury trouble. He's had a lot of injury troubles so far this year.
But, injuries are part of the game. But that is the one thing moving forward that we'll have to keep an eye on next year.
Yeah.
It's 11, James Malatesta.
Can play center or wing. Yep. Playing with the Quebec Ramparts in the queue. Malatesta was another one that looked fairly good in camp.
He is another, like, really good skater. So, Liam Foodie replacement.
Yeah. I will say that, like, this is just a general observation for me. Maybe it's just because I'm getting so accustomed to hockey names, but a lot of these guys have fun names to say.
I've noticed as I'm going through, like, this prospect list for, like, the Blue Jackets, they really love drafting. Like, when you look at the players they draft outside of the top 2 rounds, rounds 3 or later, they love forwards who are small and quick. Tyler Angle, Trey Fix-Wolanski, Jordan Dumais, James Malatesta. Like, they really like the guys who can use their skating to their ability to forecheck and to create chances.
Like a Johnny Gaudreau.
Outside of the top 2 rounds. We didn't draft him, but he's on our team.
Gets it. Hey, That's just funny to me, right? Because like all these guys sound like they're coming out of a Johnny Gaudreau cloning device, right?
I'm not gonna say that.
I mean, like
None of these guys are going to
no, they're
contribute
not going to
100
be.
plus points.
They're not gonna be Johnny Gaudreau's. That's not what I'm saying. It's like I'm just saying that, like, based off of size and draft position and all that kind of stuff, like they
I think
all
it more. I would say more so the Cam.
Cam too, yeah.
Cam Camp.
The Cam, I like that. It's good.
12 is Sergey Ivanov, who's still
18.
only 18 years old.
Yeah, he's playing for SK St. Petersburg right now.
So he's only 5'11" and 165 pounds, which is very small for a goalie. But there are goalies in the league who've had success at that size. Yaroslav Halak is one of them. He's only 5'11", and he's had a very long career in the National Hockey League and has had a very successful career in the National Hockey League. He was a fifth-round piss. What?
A fifth-round piss.
I was going to say fifth-round pick, and then you interrupted me, and I just went.
I'm sorry, but I was just going to say.
He was a fifth-round piss out of last year's shitter.
I was going to say the commentators, like, at nauseum, they're talking about how small UFC Saros is.
Yeah, because his success for a guy his size is impressive. So this is a guy who's had a lot of success overseas in the different leagues he's played in. He's gotten a cup of coffee at just about every level in Russia.
You talked about that. How like he got better as he improved.
As the competition got better, his numbers improved, which is unique.
Especially for a fifth-round piss.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, Ivanov is at least 2-3 years out from seeing what he can do over here.
Yeah, it'll take him some time, but like I kind of agree with Scott here, where he says like he's probably gonna be a good number 2 guy in the league.
Tarasov Ivanov, nice little future tandem there.
I think that's probably the goal as of right now.
The goal, in goal. Sure.
Well, they're trying to prevent goals, so
yeah. Number 13, nice little fun sleeper pick that we like talking about. Samuel Nasco. He's a left-handed D, played in Cleveland so far this year. Last year, he couldn't get ice time in the Liga, so they moved him over to the Western Hockey League. And he's often playing 25 to 30 minutes a night. So he's a minute muncher. And he's another guy
he was playing 25, 30 minutes in Finland's top league when he was in that league. His footwork is good. Like his gap control is really good, but like he doesn't provide much in terms of, like he's not going to provide that offense that you see from Stan Svozil or Corson Coolman's.
Well, no,
there's a David Jiricek or a Denton Matacek.
Well, then there's your steady guy.
Yeah.
Right? There's your defensive-minded defenseman, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's been mainly playing like third pair minutes with the Monsters so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
But he'll be, a good depth guy to come up and actually play defense for a rough defensive core. Number 14, we're getting near the end here. Our buddy Tim Burney. We've seen him this year. He scored his first NHL goal so far this year. He's unfortunately been paired up with Eric Branson for like 95% of his time up here. But 75, I like his game so far.
Yeah, he's relatively poised in his own zone. Playing alongside Erica Branson, I've been impressed with that specifically because it's definitely something you need when you're playing with Erica Branson.
Yeah, you need to be a little stout when you're playing with big goody there.
Yeah, he's pretty athletic, which is incredibly important for defensemen, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But similar to Nasco, he just doesn't really have that high end skill to be like a true impact defenseman. He's
Fair.
probably going to be a very good depth guy.
Yeah.
Those are guys you need.
Yeah. And then rounding out the top 15 is Guillaume Richard, left-handed shot, 19 years old, playing in Providence College, defenseman. Notice that we only talked about 5 forwards.
Yeah.
In this whole thing.
Other guys that were considered, CSKA defenseman Nikolai Makarov, who's very young, so I'm sure he's going to shoot up over these next few years.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Angle and towering forward Kirill Dolzhenkov, who I like. I like Dolzhenkov.
I was going to say
he's a long-term project.
Yeah, but you've definitely you've mentioned to me just how much you like his game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our top 15, and I'm just looking at this now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 5. A third of these guys are left-handed shot defensemen.
Yeah.
An entire third of those guys are left-handed shot defensemen. We've got 2 right-hand shot Ds, and the rest are wingers. Mostly wingers, but a couple of them can play center as well. And then there's Ivanov and Tarasov.
Yep.
So mention your little chart thingy real quick, and then we got to get going.
Yeah, we have just a couple more things to talk about, and then we'll be done. Drafting success since 2010. So this is 2010 to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't include the last couple of years, obviously, because it wouldn't make sense to do that since these are guys that just got drafted.
They're fresh.
These are most games played by players who were selected in the 3rd round or later. So it's minimum of just 1 game played.
Right.
Tampa's in 1st. Florida's in 2nd. Funny. What's going on in Florida? 3rd is Columbus.
How many games?
3,096.
Wow. That's actually really impressive.
Funny. Do you know who's in last?
The Colorado Avalanche, right?
Yeah.
They only have 719.
Yeah. 716. There's not a lot.
Yeah, that's yikes.
Which is surprising. But then you think about it and you look at their success and you think about, well,
right.
A lot of their guys are top end guys.
Yeah.
So, and then they've made a lot of trades. So, drafting success, number of players. So this is the number of players who've played at least one NHL game by team. Most on this list, there's a tie. Or no, most on this list is Devils at 24. Then there's a tie between the Flyers and Leafs at 23. The Kings have 22. Jackets, Lightning. Yeah, just the Jackets and Lightning have 21. And then a lot of other teams have anywhere from 15 to 19.
Right.
So this goes into our point when we talk about their top prospects and stuff like that. Obviously,
how their later round successes.
So they didn't include obviously Cole Sillinger and Ken Johnson in that list because they played enough NHL games. They're not really prospects anymore. They're just young guys who are adjusting to NHL life.
And they're also first rounders.
Well, this is what I'm getting. Well, the reason that they weren't included was because of the fact that they have played a majority of NHL games and they are a legitimate part of the future. There's no real threat that Ken Johnson is going to be sent down. Cole Sillinger, it's been discussed. I don't see them heading in that direction. And even if they do, it would be for a short period of time. He's clearly an NHL player.
He's an NHL talent. They just need to give him his time, Bradley.
So when you look at the prospect pool, what I want to get at is, 3 guys who are drafted in the first round.
Right.
Jiricek, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Matachuk.
Kuhlmans and Matachuk. Those are all good picks as far as I'm concerned. The success of the Blue Jackets have been the guys after that.
Yeah.
Jordan Dumais was 3rd on that list. He was a 3rd round pick. Sergei Ivanov was a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
James Malatesta was a 5th-round pick. Tim Burney was a 6th-round pick. Trying to think of other guys.
Even previous successes, like Kim was a 7th.
Dmitry Voronkov was a 4th-round pick. Guillaume Richard, I believe, is a 4th-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't mentioned in this list, but Tyler Angle, Trey Fix-Polanski, 7th-round picks.
Right.
I'm trying to think. There's someone missing in this list. Oh, Daniil Tarasov, 3rd-round pick. There's
there you go.
A lot of success that Yarmo's had, and just look at the roster players as well. Like, I know that Merzlikins hasn't panned out this season the way that we had hoped.
Mm-hmm.
He was a 3rd-round pick.
Yes.
And it has a good chunk of NHL experience. Vlad Gavrikov might not be here much longer, but he was a 6th-round pick. Marcus Nudavaro was a 7th-round pick. Those are 2 success stories from that 2015 draft.
Yes.
The concern is the drafting in the first 2 rounds. There have been some successes in there, as you will get with most GMs.
Couple misses.
But when you look at 2014, they whiffed on all 3 in the first round.
2013.
2013. Yes, my bad. So 2013, you missed on all 3 that were in the first round. 2015, you had Gabriel Carlson, 29th. He was an absolute bust, and your 2 best defensemen from that draft were in the 6th and 7th round. It's nice that
but then you also got Z in that.
Yes, you did. But we're
you got your franchise.
When we talk about the first round, what we're referring to is the picks that aren't lottery picks.
Right. Stuff that comes with middle
picks
of the pack
15
lower
to 32.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of misses. And that is a concern.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Foudy, absolutely.
Big miss.
Gigantic miss. So I like what he's done drafting outside that. There's a future for Jarmo and Columbus, in my opinion, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping with these picks, like Kuhlman, who was 25th overall, with Yegor, who was 21st overall, that this trend starts to shift.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting.
And I mean, like, we've talked about Yegor and how much we've enjoyed seeing his game this year. He's coming back soon from his injury.
Good.
So he should be on the mend here soon. Hopefully we'll see him slot maybe into Foodie's spot. Please.
Put him on the ice. I don't care. Put him in Branson's spot. I don't care.
Put him in Goody's spot. Yeah. All right.
Put him in Goody's spot and then put Goody in Liam's spot.
You got a zinger to end this?
You're putting me on the spot here. Let me try and
How about this one?
Oh.
Let him cook.
Well, no, what I was gonna say is he's a 5th-round piss.
5th-round piss, that's right.